Hello, we are back with the grand finals of this $2,500 FACEIT tournament. Finalists are EVL and Furotech, and we're already on the map pick band stage. It looks like the first map band is Granary. They have several minutes to get through this pick band stage, so we might be here a little bit, but no Granary in the grand finals, Marxist.
Yeah, and that breaks my heart. But we are playing this as a best of 5, so you're gonna see a lot of TF2 here. 3 maps at the very least, hopefully 5. Unless you're me and your endurance. At that 5th match, Truk, we might die, but it'll be okay. We'll do it for a good cause.
It definitely could go all 3 games this season or this series. EVL has contested and beat Furotech, spoiling their undefeated season earlier this month, I believe, right at the beginning of the month in the ESCA. So these two teams are very evenly matched. It's probably, if you were to predict 2 teams to be in the finals, these would probably be the teams. And as we can see, Badlands is the second map that's banned. And I think there's just only there's no more maps that are going to be banned. They're just going to be picking the order, I guess, now, since there only are 5 maps left in the rotation here.
Yep, so we'll see. I don't know how they negotiate that. I'm not super familiar with FACEIT systems since it's new. But we'll see here what they try to go for first. I personally would like to see some snake water process, because we haven't seen any of that so far tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because those are 2 staple maps, in my opinion. It's not really surprising to me to see Granary banned. Not many people enjoy playing that map. It is interesting to see Badlands over Metalworks getting banned. Not sure which team banned what, but those 2 maps are out of the pool, and we'll likely see some process in Snakewater coming into this final best of 5. This is for all the marbles. I believe the winning teams get a bunch of FACEIT points as well as the cash prize.
Oh yeah, I think even participants get at least some FACEIT points just for being in the tournament at all. So you get something. I see a check mark has gone by Snakewater. What does that mean, Truk?
It means checkmate, Snakewater enthusiast. We're going to be playing Snakewater. I think that means that's the first map. I'm looking at the log here, and the admins are posting GIFs in the chat log TikTok. They want this show to get on the road. Gully Wash is the next pick. Then right after that is Sunshine, and final 2 maps will be determined shortly. It looks like they both were picked like at the same time, so I don't know which is before which, but I think it was Process then Metalworks. But first things first, it looks like we're going to be going into Snakewater, Marxist.
Yep, and Snakewater has been a Banny map for a long time. So Banny being a scout player for Froyo, and dating back to when he made demo even in season 10, which would have been nearly 7 years ago. So he has had a long relationship with this map, but EVL, they can pull it out too.
Yeah, speaking of relationships, I want to say Rando versus Banny has been kind of like a ongoing theme for years now. It used to be Banny and Platinum way back in the day, and now it's Banny and Rando teams, and they meet again in the finals. EVL is Garbuglio, Yomps, Rando, Bodonsky, Dingo, and Slumnish, and on Froyotech, we got Banny, Free State, Nursey, Blaze, Assassin, and Patty. And just to note, Nursey is subbing in for Shade on Medic for this specific tournament, and she's doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, Nursey has single-handedly saved some pushes and rounds with the clutch arrow hits twice tonight. A lot of the time it's coming down on Habib, but we'll see if the magic can continue there. Also, Nursey, a big proponent of arrow building, which not a lot of teams do yet. It gets you a small amount of uber advantage, as arrow building is actually better than regular Ghostbuster gun style healing.
Yes, very much so. And my prediction or my assumption is confirmed. We are going to Snakewater first of all, and I think this is actually the map that EVL beat Froyo on. I'm going to actually check these stats here because I want to see. I want to see what we got here. Yes, EVL did upset Froyo Tech on Snakewater on November 1st of obviously this year, this month. So they're going to be having a rematch. It was 4-5 back then. This is a different rule set, though. Who do you think it favors, Marxist?
Well, having won a 5-4 is pretty good. I imagine also that Froyo took a long time to figure out what went wrong there. So I'm still there. I would say Froyo, based on how this season in ESEA has gone, I would still say they're the favorite the majority of the time. But you never know. And EVL pulling a win in the regular season is really big. So maybe Snakewater's their thing.
Yeah, and we do have most of EVL put in the server. Could you give me a second here, Marxist? I will need to message someone real quick.
Uh-huh. So we should see some cool stuff here go down. It says warm up 3 minutes, so we will have it here within the next 5 minutes, hopefully. They may do the old extendo and pull the rug out from under us. There are not a ton of Froyo in the server yet. But we still got Truk on his individual mission.
Okay, I was just...
Oh, it's
just
okay. It's
asking
okay.
Rando to have Dingo change his name. It was a little
Yes, that would be
inappropriate.
ideal.
So that's been changed.
I also noticed that.
Okay, so that's been changed. We're good to go here as far as the appropriate department, family-friendly department goes. As we know, TF2 is a family-friendly game. Get your family involved, pick up some TF2, and get the whole family involved. As I said, we have 12 players in the server, Marxist. I think it's about that time for some early predictions here. Who do you think's got this first map?
I would like to see a 4-3, since that's about as close as we can get to a 5-4 with only a half an hour. But you never know, maybe it'll go really fast. I'm still going to say probably Froyo here, especially because of how well Nursey has been playing. And also, Nursey was a part of the Badonsky Rando thing for a while, and so maybe we'll have some insight.
Well, I'm going to be picking... I don't know who I'm going to be picking. I'm picking Yomps. That's who I'm picking to win this game. And Yomps happens to be on EVL, so I guess EVL is going to win this map. Yomps is nuts. He's been nuts for years now, and I think he has the power to take over this game, maybe even take over the series and the tournament for his team. But first things first, they got to win on Snakewater as the teams are readying up.
And they're getting through now. A little bit of pre-match chatting with former teammate Nursey about the ban situation in ESEA. Apparently unbanned is Nursey. Maybe we'll see in the playoffs. But we should be getting underway here very shortly. They got a minute left.
Yeah, I think this is Nursey's first time playing against her old team, Ronin/EVL. It's pretty interesting to see how she performs. She knows that team very well, so obviously playing I think 2 seasons under the Ronin tag. So maybe the secret strats will be revealed.
Yeah, it can be punishing. Also, you know a medic's habits when you play with them, and so most medics don't run around a whole lot, and so if you know where they like to be, it's a lot easier to predict what's gonna happen when you go to do your bombs in and stuff, because you know right where that medic likes to stand. Or maybe if you're rando, where you taught Nursey to stand and forced her to always stand there.
Well, time is a ticking. We got 10 seconds before I believe the server resets itself, so that would be pretty disappointing if that happens. Can someone come into the clutch and ready up? It looks like the match is just starting itself, actually, so no server reset. False alarm. We got a game on our hands, Marxist. Who's going to win this first mid?
Well, I don't know about that. Yomps has been playing pretty well. It looks like they're maybe doing a pause. But maybe that's just random stuff. No pause for you. We are staying live.
Well, in the previous matchup between these two teams on this map, a lot of Garbuglio action on these mids was dictating these mids, but for whatever reason, there is going to be no carnage on this mid. We're just going to cap it off. Easy first mid win for EVL. Marxist, break it down.
Yeah, apparently somebody was missing. I don't see anybody standing back in spawn, so they got back to their computer in time, by the looks of things. They say Habib is not here.
Yeah,
but
we have...
Habib is definitely here.
Yeah, and Garbuglio went down, even Uber. It's kind of odd to start off a game with an Uber v Uber stalemate, but the ball is in the mid owner's court, so it's probably going to be some sort of distraction play, or they're just going to send Yomps in. Yomps is feeling it. He goes in, the counter sack of Free State. It looks like Free State's going to be going in through the battlements area, getting in behind, forcing a 1v1, but not able to actually force that. It's going to be Patty getting dropped in Saw by Badonsky. No popped Uber from Nursey as EVL tries to make their way through with their one-player advantage.
And they're thinking about dropping out of the window but coming around. So we start off with some mind games here and go down into solo Ubers. And they are just jumping around right now, trying to get your medic into a position where they won't instantly die at the end of the Uber. Slimnish is going to go down, but so's Blaze and Banny. Banny's also going to manage to get Rando really quick there. Garbuglio's going to go down as well. Habib gets taken out by Yomps, though. Yomps is going to try to go on a rampage here. He's got the medic right behind him. That's where he likes him to be.
Yeah, Yomps with a full stack of health. They haven't made their way all the way through Saw yet. Yomps trying to clear some room for his team, dancing around the cheese area. Badonsky hitting a nice pipe, shutting down Patty. But at the end of the day, Froyo Tech spawned up, and they've reconvened. The Ubers are even once again, despite the little bit of a skirmish there. No one really comes out on top.
Yep, they will try again. And they're just going to Uber straight in. They know they've got a tiny bit of advantage. Mercy's going to go down. Yomps is going to manage to get the kill off of the logs there, and that's going to be a done deal. But they're going for the med here, but they are safe. And that was Dingo there. Manages to make the escape.
Very proactive Uber from Dingo and Rando. Rando making the clutch play. Nursey had almost getting her Uber, but getting dropped by Rando as they push into the last point, going the truck side. Rando on top of the girder as Yomps and Badonsky just stand right on the point and end this first round.
Yep, so they are going to grab that. Holding on, so now they're officially, does that make it 6-4 versus Froyo on Snakewater this particular season of TF2? And we'll see what goes down. I imagine we're all going to come to mid this time.
Yeah, let's see if people actually shoot each other. It looks like that is the case. Badonsky and Habib trading stickies. Badonsky again getting the advantage over Habib. Garbuglio getting into the enemy kitchen, just kind of waiting around. He's probably going to go anytime now, but as I say, that Blaze coming in all the way over the top, launching Dingo into the sky. Dingo barely dodging a rocket. Garbuglio still in the enemy kitchen. Behind Habib, hits one rocket. Slimnish finishes off that frag, but it looks like Froyotech is going to be winning this mid with the Chariot Scouts charging in on Slimnish and Dingo as they desperately try to get out to their last.
One of the keys to winning at mid is to make sure that your scouts live as long as humanly possible. Most newer teams that really struggle should take that Froyo mid away as their little point for the day. If your scouts die straight off at mid, you have a really hard time winning. If they're still around, you'll make it. a lot of the time. And a little pushback starts to come in as well while I was talking about that, but nothing comes of it. And now we're back to where we started last round.
Yeah, but we're on the opposite side of the map. It's the ball's in FACEIT's court. They got to make the plays. They got to push into second. Everybody on, I was about to say Ascent. Everybody on EVL is fully overhealed. So they're probably going to make a distraction play for Blaze. That would be my guess.
Yep, and then usually this comes out of the window or straight out of this doorway. Trying to clear the stickies back is Blaze. And we'll see what he decides to do here, though. He's one of the most experienced players in the game still. And definitely the most experienced roamer that we got going right now. So if anybody knows how to handle this, it's Blaze.
And here he goes right through the window. No distraction play for him. He hits a decent rocket onto Badonsky, but that's all he's going to get. Yamps picks up the frag as Slemnish and Yamps are pushing through this lower area. Yamps going in by himself on the counter-sack play, unable to find a frag of his own, but Habib and Banny picking up one apiece as FACEIT's going to take their one-player advantage and push in to the second point, and it should be fairly clean. Badonsky and Slemnish are so extended here. It looks like Dingo wants to just get out. He hits a nice arrow to save his demo's life. Her Nursey under a lot of fire, but she is going to be just fine, keeping her Uber. And man, it looked like EVL wanted to contest that, but Dingo really didn't want to pop his Uber.
Yep, they probably ought to have opted for the hero Uber, but maybe they're trying to play it a little slow. They do have the round lead, so it's not really on them.
And Patty going into lobby, Ubered right in onto Rando. Dingo pops his Uber off. Rando's not really in any position to make a play, so both Ubers expended, no frags exchanged, but FACEIT, being the aggressive team that they are, might decide to dry push this.
Yeah, this is definitely a map you can do it on. They're coming in the left side. They have got some traction. Badonsky's going to die. That is a hugely bad thing. More players are getting really beat up here. Rando's going to die as well. And that may seal the deal. Yeah, there it is.
Blaze jumped over all three EVL players with Vanny sneaking on the point, finishing off that cap. It is 1-1 here, Marxist. And this is gonna be a close series. I can tell it already.
It will be very good. Got some changes here to some loadouts, it looks like, and we'll see what they decide to go for this mid. Both these teams know each other extremely well, I would say.
Garbuglio in his own kitchen early on in this mid. He has that Cow Mangler as well. I think he's going to be initiating the fight any second here as he spams away. Hits a decent rocket onto Banny. Banny very hurt. Slemnish finishes him off. Garbuglio does go down. Patty in behind. Yamps cleans up that frag. FACEIT has the positioning, but they are down. They are not down a player. There's actually... now they're down a player. Blaze goes down. Yamps and Slemnish being fully overhealed, running across the point, trying to pistol down Habib. They do take him out. Nursey and FACEIT, the only two left alive. FACEIT distracting for his medic. Nursey should be able to escape scot-free, but Yamps, he wants a piece.
Yeah, and they are going to grab that point, is EVL. And they're going to get second as well. We may see Nursey try the hero Uber. Patty is alive. But, well, they're not going to let that happen. So, Benny's going on to Tinkertown, as Blank used to call it. And FACEIT is on the sniper. So, the double off class coming out here. We'll probably see a Yamp, Slemnish, or Garbuglio action come out here. Unless they have a super secret strat.
Yeah, I don't think they do. Garbuglio getting juggled in this lower area by Blaze. Blaze finishes off that frag. Yamps getting some potty thrown on him as he backs off. FACEIT getting very aggressive in that lobby with that one-man advantage. He's going to get an aggressive peek here, but he is kind of getting spammed out. He's going for it. Can he hit the shot? He does not hit the shot onto Dingo, but he is still alive.
Manages not to die, so A+ work there. Didn't hit the shot. Does get a nice body shot onto Slemnish, at least, for his efforts. Yamps is going to die in a sticky trap. The Girardi gets thrown out again. It doesn't look like it hit anybody, though. And that may be the move here. They're at least pushing up quite a bit.
Patty destroying Arbuglia. As I say that, Blaze just barely misses the air shot onto Dingo, forcing the Uber out of EVL, and EVL just 3 players alive, just scattered across the point. Dingo's going to need to get out of here as Furutech is able to push out of their last.
Froyo just kind of bullies them off the point there, and they're going to cap this up. They do have the sniper, probably going to run them back. No, Free State is going to stay. The Uber advantage is here for EVL, and they're pushing onto the point now with force, but Dingo goes down to Free State's body shot, so that defensive sniper is going to change the game.
Yeah, and Yomps is trying to get out. He is able to, but they lost Dingo. Big frag coming in from Free State, and Nursey is still alive, gonna have that Uber advantage, but Rando wants none of that. He goes in with that shotgun rocket combo, dropping Nursey down to 0 in a blink of an eye, and that evens up the Ubers. In fact, gives Dingo a bit of an advantage, and Blaze already in a proactive position to make a play, but Slemnish sniffs him out and takes him down. So a bunch of plays happening for either team, and after the dust settles, EVL is back on top with that Uber advantage.
Yeah, and Dingo's got quite a lot of Uber advantage right now. And they're going back to the Free State Banny off class, both of their scout players, picking up the utility classes. And we'll see what they can get done this time. But they're going to have to weather an Uber unless Free State can go huge.
Yeah, but they have an NG boy. He's got that level 2 sentry gun. Banny's moving it to the lower hut area. So if EVL is unable to track the sentry gun down, it could prove to be a nuisance as they get their Uber. They have a few seconds here before Nursey is going to get her own. They're charging right in through this right side. They spot out the sentry gun. They take it down. They are getting Habib as well. Blaze and Patty jumping every which way. Patty is eviscerated. Blaze trying to pick up some scraps, but he is unable to, as EVL, with a nice clean push, make it happen. That's off of Rando's big medic pick onto Nursey.
Yep, off of that shotgun frag comes a really nice last push. That was textbook in its quality, and they grabbed that easily. Nice to see a team not have trouble in those situations, especially when they need it. You need every possible win against Froyo.
Yeah, stickies are exchanged on this fourth mid of this first map. Podolsky hitting a nice sticky onto Free State. Blaze jumping up top with Patty. Patty going all the way in behind, and he's still in behind. He has 3 players to spot out here. He hits Yomps twice, 2 rockets, 1 frag, and he's looking for 1 more onto Dingo. Patty making the plays for his team. Podolsky getting Nursey at the tail end of that. I didn't see what happened there, but Podolsky salvaging this round for his team, but they're still going to be defending their last.
There's a lot of commentary from the dead players as to why Nursey died there, but such is life, and they get the big pick with the demo, but it doesn't really matter. They're pushing straight through anyways. Habib's going to go down to that shotgun again. 12 health. He manages to die to the little pellets there, and they are going to continue this fight, it looks like, at least for a bit.
Rando wants to go in.
On the wrong side in there.
Rando just peeking. It looked like he wanted to go in on Nursey, get that med pick, but decides better to go back to his last, play the even Ubers, make Froyotech make their move, and counter off of it.
Yeah, you don't want to push the initiative here. When you're on a time limit game and you're winning, the risky plays while you're on your own last will not be to your benefit.
Yeah, as the time ticks on, it's about halfway through this first map, and I'm expecting to see some sort of sack play, maybe get Free State back on that sniper. He's made plays for his team so far this game. Maybe he's feeling the sniper.
Yep, Slemnish coming on up. We'll see what happens with that. They're actually pushing Free State in quite a ways as well. And they're going to get Blaze also, so the 2-man sack, a viable strat here. Not used very much anymore, but that's what you see. The Uber comes out. We'll see how this exchange goes.
Yeah, very hurt Ubered players from EVL, Rando and Yamps taking a lot of damage in this exchange, but they're still alive. Yamps does go down, but Donsky to follow next. Slemnish getting very aggressive onto Banny, but they're not finding any frags. EVL needs to make something happen, and this round is gone for them. Slemnish is still alive. He gets one frag, he gets another. He's still in behind, dancing around. Can he get the third onto Patty? He hits the meat shot. Patty has no pack to work with, but Habib, Banny, and Nursey are just going to last.
Yeah, there's not a lot that they can do here. The med was actually stuck in was Dingo, so they just take care of Dingo really quick. And it's not looking too good for EVL. I'm surprised that they didn't just win that round right there. They chose to play it super safe. They said we got 70% Uber. We'll just wait on that instead.
Yeah, they were like they dipped through the lower area, but they decided to play off their Uber advantage. I don't know if it's going to work out for them, but they know better. They got the opening pick onto Rando. Slemnish doesn't have that level 2 sentry gun up just yet, so they should have no trouble taking it out as they push the truck side. Sentry gun down, lots of point presence and capture time, and this should be a Furrier Tech round, but they're losing players. Free State and Banny piling right back onto the point, finishing it off, and once again, it's a tie game.
Yep, they have tied it up with exactly 14 minutes left as I started talking there, so this one's gonna come down to the wire, it looks like, truktruk. And EVL just had a botched second push out there, or they would have been in business. So we'll see what happens here. The mids have been pretty good for them so far.
Yeah, let's see who gets the better of the demo fight initially. It looks like Bonanski's going to do a damage to Free State once again, removing that overheal. Garbuglio going up top on his own side. Blaze jumping right into him and taking him down. Patty to follow. Both Furrier Tech soldiers are in behind as the scouts push across the point and take down Bodonsky. Patty comes back in, finishes up Yamps, and somehow Dingo is still alive. He's on everybody on Froyo wants that med pick. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it, but they've won another mid very convincingly. As I am speaking, Patty goes into the spawn, almost kills Dingo, but is this too much of an overextension from Froyo Tech?
Nah, I think it's completely worth it. Especially because Nursey is still alive. They're just going to have an Uber here to respond. The thing is, you don't want to get forced in a crappy way. Yeah, so here's a force. They're not going to do anything with it, so that was not good. They are also not going to cap this point, so they should have been more proactive there with the fact that they had Uber. They could have stopped that from happening and capped second. But unfortunately, things were just too chaotic, and we will see a EVL push out here.
Yeah, that gave EVL Uber advantage, that aggressive play, and they should be able to take it into mid, but they did lose Yamps, Free State, and Banny in this lower area, causing a little bit of a distraction. Bodonsky kind of chasing it down with Slemnish. Everybody's going through lower. Rando's like, no, I'm going to clear out Saw as they push through lower with both scouts and the demo. Blaze getting suspended in the skybox as Bodonsky finishes him off. Free State in behind on the back cap, though.
Yeah,
not starting it though.
Yeah, he's not starting the back cap, which is strange. And they all come back for him, the whole team. And now there's a ton of Froyo coming out of the window, dropping down. The med is blocked, but it doesn't matter. Both scouts die in exchange for that small delay. No Uber anymore for EVL, and they're just going to get run out of here.
Yeah, Banny aggressive in the lobby with Habib, doing a lot of damage to Garbuglio, but not securing any frags. They are opening up a lot of space for their team to cap off second. They haven't capped second yet, but they're pushing into last with their Uber. They need to get the frags, otherwise this is not going to work out for them. They do get two. That should be good enough. They push this truck side with the remaining of their Uber. Yamps and Garbuglio getting very low. Blaze coming in to clean up the medics. Slemnish and Yamps, the last two players alive, trying to get to that point to defend it off. Patty with the skill stick out, forcing Slemnish off the point and finishing off this round. Froyo Tech, for the first time this game, they're up.
Yep, Froyo taking the lead for the first time, and we'll see what goes down. Some pretty cool plays so far here. Just EVL got the worst end of a few exchanges there because of a little bit of inertia, and we'll see if they can correct that coming out here. Much more, we need a more decisive EVL.
Yeah, last mid, Proyatech sent both their soldiers in behind and took the scout and demo across. This time, Garbuglio going in, hitting 2 easy rockets onto Nursey. Dingo going down to Patty. Yamps launching Patty across the map, taking him down. Blaze onto Badonsky, gets the nice shot before he goes down. But EVL winning their first mid in a while, both medics going down.
Yep, although they did lose their med and lost later in the mid. Oh, Rando has he was walking around with his stick out, and that almost resulted in his death, because you take those mini crits, but Habib, having to defend himself at close range, is going to manage to defend himself
God.
and obliterate Yomps. So
Yeah.
Habib's styling.
Oh man, Rando with the sneaky spee strat. He's playing soldier, but it's practically a backstab right behind Nursey, taking her out of the sky, giving Dingo that uber advantage. They're probably going to have to concede this point since they're down so many players, but as I say that, Slumnish and Yomps respawn, but they're going to regroup with their uber advantage and take this back into mid.
Yep, they'll just do the push in. There also, these players on the point are not overhealed or anything because Nursey died recently, so they get into this pretty easily.
Free state.
There, well, let's see. Yep, there is a player coming out of the kitchen going for the med. Nope, not gonna happen. too much. That was the oldest trick in the book there, truktruk.
Yeah, he was hiding like Rando. It didn't really work out for him that time. Dingo working his way through this yard area. Rando clearing out the battlements, and they're making so much room. Danny getting focus fire down as Yomps gets traded off from Habib's sticky trap. But again, Dingo does have the uber advantage. They're going to have to act right now if they want to get Nursey's uber dropped. Nursey's at 99%. She got her uber. She's just milking away here as she gets launched into the skybox. She pops it off. Take down Garbuglio. They take down Rando. Dingo is next to follow. Slumnish gets a frag and gets destroyed thereafter. Habib getting a pair of frags in that exchange.
Yeah, that heavy anti-aircraft gun was too much for the double soldier strat. They had to jump across the heavy, and as such, Rando got held suspended in the air, unable to progress forward, and unable to get the kill onto Nursey. But I think they're gonna fight this again, truktruk. They want more.
Habib is just destroying the Slomps combo. Rando goes in and doesn't really get too much himself, but he is in behind. He hits a nice direct onto Blaze. It's taken out by Banny, but Habib is controlling the pace of this game and helping his team push out from his last.
A really nice performance, and especially rare defenses, solo defenses of a demo against Scout. That's, if you want to talk about counters in this game, Scout is the hard counter to demo most of the time, especially at close range, and Habib is just dealing with them.
Yeah, he's taken out Slumnish and Yomps 2 times now in these crucial exchange, and Patty is looking to get through this saw area with the uber advantage. As I say that, Free State somehow finding himself behind with no one on EVL knowing. He's going to take his time, take the long con, and scout this out. He's in behind. He didn't get a bead. Oh, he did get a bead onto Dingo. Can he hit the shots? There's one, there's two. That's the drop. Free State's still in behind. Here comes Froyo attack. A nice air shot onto Garbuglio as he falls to his death. Nursey milking away, finally popping it off. Banny gonna take down Rando. Slumnish, Yomps, and Badonsky just dancing around. Slumnish, the only player left alive in this area. Badonsky and Yomps getting out, and what a play from Free State.
Yeah, big go in from behind there, getting the med to drop. And with those 2-shot situations, your reflexes have to be really good as med, because that first scout shot does like 100 damage to you. And you have to make a decision really quick about what you're going to do, and unfortunately Dingo not quick enough on the trigger. And his team is now sitting at last. And they are building basically as fast as you can now with that Nursey arrow building. They're still a little slow to move up though, so unfortunately I don't think their hard arrow building is going to make a bit of difference. And they are coming in now, but they don't have uber advantage, so this gun is going to screw things up pretty bad.
Yeah, they might be running into the wall here as Banny gets taken out of the sky. Habib gets locked down on the right side, and everybody on Froyo is just hightailing it out of there. Can the two players get out from lower? Blaze is so hurt. Rando just needs to connect one shot. He does. Patty in deep, and Free State somehow gets Dingo once again. Free State, the slippery snake, does it again.
Dingo seemed confused about what doors his team had covered. And so he ran around those barrels in upper lobby, and a enemy scout just was like right in his grill, and that is death.
Oh, Nursey taking Garbuglio out of the sky as Banny cleans up the other soldier, retaining that Uber advantage. It's much bigger this time around, and this push should be a little bit cleaner. They're not going to be running into an Uber or a sentry gun as they push lower, completely uncontested. Nursey not even having to pop it at all. Banny just capping off most of the point. Nursey doesn't have Uber just yet. This could fall apart. Free State needs to clean this up. Nursey is getting her Uber. She pops it off. Can Free State clean up this final frag? He's going for the melee kill onto Garbuglio and cleans it up. A bit of a sloppy push, but it worked out.
Yeah, they ended up dying a lot faster than they anticipated there. But Nursey stayed cool and knew that all she had to do was stay connected. And it would build on its own, and it did. So they ended up getting that one out with a baseball bat kill, or sword in this case.
Well, EVL is going to have to be very aggressive for the rest of this map. 4 minutes left. They need 2 rounds to tie it up here. Let's see what they pull out. Slenish already up top. Garbuglio going in deep once again. He needs to connect another rocket. Rando trying to clean up his teammates' damage, and he does. Nursey down. Is Dingo still alive? It doesn't look like it. Badonsky, the final player to fall, and despite the pick onto Nursey, Tech wins that mid with 4 players left alive.
Yeah, and that's going to be hard to deal with because Garbuglio and Yomps died so early. They're the only ones available to contest, and so I don't think they're really going to go for it. But at least they don't have to deal with a Nursey Uber. That panic shotgun still on point for Rando. But I think that may very well be the end of this first game here. Because...
Well, we'll see here. Slumnish on Sniper. If he can hit the shot on Nursey, he hits Habib as Yomps cleans up Blaze and Habib. Froyotech's Free State is in behind once again. Badonsky airshotting him out of the sky and destroys Free State. See, that's what the garbage time's for the double airshot onto Free State to defend the last point. But it's not going to be good enough to win them the map. There is 3 minutes left, and Froyotech still has that advantage. But as I say that, Garbuglio going in behind and dropping Nursey. Is there any hope for EVL at this point? They can make this happen, right?
I don't think so. With 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, it's even if they rolled straight through on this round, it would be about, they would have somewhere around like a minute 20, I think, left to win the next round, and that's not very likely.
Yeah, and Habib's already sticking off the forward spawn, anticipating the cap from Rando. Rando going back and dealing with Habib. Slumnish backing off. He's still on Sniper. Yeah, there is 2 minutes left in the game. I'm not sure what map is next here, Marxist, but this is pretty much garbage time. Tech winning this first map 4-2, unless something goes crazy.
I'm thinking Gully Wash will be our next map, which will be coming up right away. We should probably not have to switch STVs. It'll probably just start straight away. And Corn Pop and I actually just saw some Gully Wash earlier, so with Froyo, so they actually struggled a little bit against bird noises. So maybe that's good news for the Ascent EVL team here.
Yeah, for EVL, it's kind of unfortunate because it seems like even though it's garbage time, they're kind of working their way into last, but it's probably because it's garbage time. But let's see if they can make this a closer scoreline on this first map as they push the right side, taking down the sentry gun, taking control of the right side and the truck side. They have control of last, but they're not really getting any frags. They're losing players every which way, but Badonsky and Garbuglio cap it off and finish off the round. There is 57 seconds left, Marxist. Did we speak too soon?
No. Okay. Because if you had both soldiers run Pain Train, maybe. As long as the other team didn't come out and contest you at all, maybe you would be able to do it, but I still doubt it. Because
All
it's already
right.
30 seconds and you're not even to mid yet.
Yeah, it seems like Vertex just kind of balling up this mid, making sure that they get this map, and it doesn't seem to be working for them as EVL is winning this mid fairly convincingly as Blaze hits a nice rocket before he dies. Free State and Habib somehow come in last second there and salvage this mid for their team. Slemnish dancing around, 10 seconds remaining, just the stat line. Can Slemnish beat Habib in this 1v1? He can. He wins the 2v1 to win his team mid, but that's all she wrote for this first map. 3-4, Froyotech leads 1-0 in this best of 5 grand finals.
Yep, so either team will have to win. Well, Froyo has to win 2 more games, and Ascent will pretty much have to be perfect from here on out. They've got a game of leeway, but they'll pretty much have to be perfect from here on out. We'll see what they decide to do with the server here. I hope that we're not going to have to switch.
I don't think so. Throughout this entire tournament, it's just been
it's always been
server
the same,
switching.
but
So.
I know they set things up differently for this finals, so it scares me.
Marx, this is okay. I'm here for you. Everybody's here for you, Marxists. We got your back. But speaking of coming back, that was really not a good segue, but can EVL bring this back? It seemed like Furrier kind of figured him out in the second half of that match.
Yeah, EVL just started to do kind of wacky things there to try and get back into the match, and it kind of cursed them after they went down that round to Froyo. But we'll see what they decide to do on Ghouliwash. Yeah, it is. So I think I understand that kind of cryptic message we got about what order these maps are in. So there we go. I deciphered the telegraph, and we're headed over to Ghouliwash.
That's what we got you. We got the Code Cracker Marxist on the cast here. And who do you got on Ghouliwash? Is it how much different is it than Snakewater in your eyes, Marxist?
Well, Ghouliwash is quite a bit different. I would say Ghouliwash's mid is more similar to Badlands. It operates on similar principles because you've got to get up onto the, I like to call it the dance floor, so that it makes a little bit of sense, because there's the true floor made of dirt, and then the dance floor up top, and that's where you want to be. That's where the cool stuff happens. You don't want to be down in the dirt. So, yeah. And that's Badlands is very similar to that. So quite a bit different from Snakewater, where it's waiting comes at more of a premium, and the high ground on Snakewater isn't as good as the high ground on Ghouliwash. And yeah, that's basically it. The last is also much more difficult to push for a myriad of reasons. So we'll see what goes on here. I can speak to, I think you watched it as well, we saw Froyo actually kind of struggle at times against bird noises on this map.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure why that was. Maybe they're just getting the first game jitters out of the day, even though that's not really a thing for a team like Furrier. Maybe the first game rust out of their system. I think it's been shaken off. I think the most impressive player in this series so far has just been Habib. I think as soon as he's been able to play and anticipate Yomps and Slemnish's aggression, he's been pretty much dictating the pace of this game, and I think that's why the game kind of slowed down a little bit in Furrier favor on Snakewater.
Well, and to be fair to Yomps and Slemnish, Snakewater very heavily favors the Demo Man class because it's pretty open. There are some choke points to deal with. You've also got some nice, lovely ramps to kind of hang out on and pipe things from. So demos have shown dominant performances there before and really swung games, especially at mid. Now this is another map where maybe not at last or second does the demo really reign supreme, but definitely at mid, the demo is a huge sort of a huge part of the machinery, just like Badlands.
All right, so on this map, what does EVL? I almost said Ascent because Yomps' name is so trolly. He has the Ascent tag in his name. What does EVL have to do to get back into the series? They looked quite strong early on, but as the game progressed, it just seemed more and more like in Froyotech's favor. It seemed like they had, like I said, control of the game, and it turned kind of into a DM fest near the end.
Yeah, the big thing for any team that plays Froyo is if you hesitate, you die. So you once you've come up with a plan or whatever your team typically does in a given situation, you just have to do it and hope that it works out. Because if there's even a bit of hesitation is when they blow you up because they rotate on you so quickly. So as you're hanging around arguing the merits of using an Uber to block second, there's now somebody behind you that took advantage of your indecision, and now you're totally screwed regardless of what you do. And that's what Froyo is so good at and has been for a long time. And it can be really shocking to have to play against, because every time you're just having a casual debate about what to do, there's like people behind you, and now you're dead.
Yeah, and speaking of getting behind, Free State got in behind a few times on that last map, and this map definitely has a lot of routes to make some sneaky plays, especially through the big door, the lower area, getting in behind undetected. Free State has done time and time again throughout many seasons of ESEA Invite, and I'm expecting him to make some plays once again for his team. And in fact, I think Froyotech has the advantage on this map.
Yeah, and I believe it was their pick. Let's see. Yes, it was, despite their struggles earlier. So the rundown on that was EVL picked Snakewater, so they lost on their own pick. But I can see why they picked it. They did win that during the ESEA season, and they did make it there. And now we've got Frogo's pick, so EVL's going to have to try to take away their pick as well.
So coming into this map, we have 12 players into this server. This is the FACEIT $2,500 grand final between EVL and Froyotech Marxist. Who do you got to win as we're readying up right now?
Well, I'd like to see EVL, but I'm going to say it's probably Froyo, because they picked this map for a reason, and maybe it was just rust there at the start. But we're going to warm up now. We're not going to make the same mistake that Corn Pop and I did and totally ignore the start of a match. So we're off to the races here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Froyotech does have an advantage. Blaze going for the early drop-down play, getting in through cleanly. He's screwing up his rocket jumps, and Patty is in. Despite that, Blaze still gets the pick onto Dingo. He's kind of cornered, but he's turning so many heads. All these EVL players are balled up, and it looks like it's going to work out for him. Banny, the only remaining player for Froyotech, easily cleaned up. 4 remaining players for EVL, both medics going down.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see what they do now. They're going to be able to rush second. Nursey's now getting all the spawns, but they use Free State to come out there, but Rando is actually behind. Nursey's going to jump up in the air and surf it basically straight up, and Free State's going to two-shot Rando, and Garbuglio may be trapped. No, Garbuglio's going to make it out with 16.
Yeah, Nursey having a massive advantage despite both medics dying relatively close to the same time. Regardless, Blaze opening up some space for his team. Badonski's in a lot of trouble. He's surfing towards the big door, going back underneath the point to safety. Free State on his tail takes him down. Banny jumping or running across the point with Habib spamming right over top of it. Froyotech does not want to give up. They're keeping pushing forward. Dingo does not have Uber. I'm surprised EVL is sticking around for so long. Can Garbuglio hit the shot? He's trying to get out, but he's unable to. I thought he was going for the med pick, but he kind of got stumped in his own tracks. Froyotech taking back mid, not even using their Uber.
So the same situation happened to them last game where they had Uber and they chose not to block and ended up getting forced by a player behind. And it looks like they are not going to let that happen again, but their scouts are trapped into this Uber. Doesn't matter though, Froyo doesn't have any scouts anymore. Habib though is going to blow up 2 players right there, Rando and Yomps. And Blaze is going to die as well. So that complete reversal, nice play there from EVL. And they might trap out Habib here.
Slemnish and Yomps are going crazy already. They dictated the entire fight. Slemnish hitting a 3k, Yomps doing a ton of damage as well. And they're going to be recapping this mid, keeping their Uber. A very similar situation just a moment ago from Froyotech. Now it's EVL's turn to push off of their advantage.
Yes, indeed. They're bringing it down the side here. The most popular door for this kind of push. But Froyo in the last match was really good at defending here. Garbuglio and Blaze are going to trade out the Roamer Special, as it's called. And it looks like they're not going to effectively defend this at all. Mercy does have the time, though. They are going to get in here and find an Uber.
Oh man, they might be running into a brick wall. Here comes Nursey's Uber. They do get Habib. They trade off Yomps and Rando for that pick. They get Nursey to pop off. They're going to back to their choke area as the 5 Froyotech players are pushing out onto second. Patty beefing his rocket jump up. Blaze coming in over the top, opting to go for Garbuglio. Garbuglio's going to surf away. So many synced rockets into choke. Banny cleans up the damage, takes down Slemnish, and Froyotech recapping the second point.
That just shows you the strength of the scout class, because that actually wasn't Patty's fault, that weird looking rocket jump. That was Slemnish doing 60 damage to him from like darn near across the map.
And they're getting stuffed in choke right now. Rando and Badonsky sinking their explosive damage onto Patty as Rando wants to work his way through choke. Neither team has Uber just yet. Habib's the only one watching choke for Froyotech. They can clear it out. Blaze right up top. He's going to get some free rockets onto Badonsky. Badonsky taking Blaze out, but it is a trade. Blaze making the play for his team as the rest of EVL is wrapping Froyotech into choke. Yomps all by himself taking down Habib. Free State falling thereafter. Nursey and Banny trying to get out into their own lobby as their Uber is very unsuccessful.
Yeah, they had to use it there just to basically escape. There's no real shame in that. I think they're going to be able to hold last just fine. But at least you didn't lose your med, so better than holding it forever in that situation. We might see something, though. EVL's moving really strong here, and Froyo is as well in Riverside.
Yeah, EVL, both of these teams are so aggressive. It's not uncommon for them to dry push in these situations, but I'm expecting a Yomp sack play for the Yomp sniper, or are they going to play off their Uber advantage? I don't know if they know they have Uber advantage. You might as well assume Nursey has been building, but they know Nursey doesn't have Uber just yet, and they're going in. Habib is super hurt. Badonsky takes him down, and he's sitting on the point. Gets taken down. Yomps getting onto the point as well. So much time on this last cap. Garbuglio trying to pick up the scraps onto Free State. And can he do it? He can, and that is EVL up 1-0 in this second map.
Well, repeat of the last game, EVL comes out and wins the first round here. So, I believe that's the case. I may be wrong, but
yep.
Yeah, so good solid round from EVL there. Managing to pull it out. And we'll see what they can manage to do here at mid.
Yeah, Garbuglio, and he's actually by himself in this lower area. Blaze doing a high bomb right on top of a pile of EVL players, not hitting anything. Patty doing the same thing, taking down Slemnish and traded off by Garbuglio. Blaze through drop down, takes down Dingo. Got some nice stickies across the point from Habib, hitting Yomps once, hits him again. Yomps is very hurt, but Donsky's on the other side. They're kind of trapping Habib and Nursey, and Yomps cleans up both of those frags. Just raw DM skill from Yomps cleaning up the end of that mid.
Yep, a Demo and Scout Survivor for your mid is really, really good. That's a lot of firepower you've got left over there. And the funny thing I saw, I don't know if you noticed it too, Rando was standing by choke with his shotgun out, just shotgunning and reloading a shell and shotgunning again with like 10 health for the longest time.
And here's the transition play. Badonsky getting taken out, but his team is reacting strong. Badonsky taking out the enemy Demo. 3 frags in exchange for 1 in favor of EVL as they work their way towards this last push. They do have a little bit of an Uber advantage to work with, but neither medic has Uber just yet. Rando with a sliver of health gets taken down. Yomps just pushing forward. Garbuglio actually going underneath the point. It might be a little bit too late here. Nursey gets the Uber saw to get the Uber, defending this last point. Garbuglio and Slemnish underneath the point, just kind of wobbling around. Is Garbuglio accounted for? I don't think so. Yes, he is. Free State taking him out. And Froyotech with on the back of Nursey's Ubersaw is able to defend their last point.
That was a huge play from Nursey, because right in that same moment where Nursey's Uber pops, Dingo gets shot in the back and dies with like 97% or something like that. And so that just killed him there. And now Nursey's got Uber advantage to push mid again. They may go early here even to use... Oh, wow, not anymore,
Wow.
says Badonsky. The double pipe kill is going to wipe them out and give them quite a bit of time here. They're actually coming in through choke for the wrap.
Rando doing a ton of damage to Habib. Garbuglio finishes off the Froyo demo. FACEIT trapped out behind the point, and Dingo takes it into his own hands, taking out the remaining Froyo Tech scout as EVL putting themselves in a position once again to push last. Nursey does have her Uber though.
Yep, and that's one way to deal with the other team having Uber.
Oh, no.
And Nursey's going to drop to a Garbuglio bomb out of the lower door, and he's going to get another kill. He's going to take out the pocket and Patty, and that is doom because the Uber is right here for Dingo. Slumnish is going to die early, but I don't think that's going to matter. But actually, Badonsky's down to free state.
Wow.
And now this push is not such a certain thing anymore.
Yeah, some respawns for the Froyo Tech players. They're going to have to get the frags or get the point immediately. They're opting to go for the point. They're losing players, but they have so much cap time. Garbuglio doing so much damage, but he's the only remaining frag in class. Dingo just dancing around, trying to stay alive. Froyo Tech staying alive on last once again to a big play from Free State.
Yeah, that was such a quick reaction there from Froyo. They lost their med into a drop, and they immediately enacted some sort of backup plan that they've had. They unsealed the secret documents, and everybody just did whatever it was that Froyo does, and it completely annihilated the EVL push.
Garbuglio spotted out, trying to get out. Actually, he's opting to go for Nursey anyway. He doesn't have enough time to shoot that last rocket. Habib getting that frag. Blaze getting one onto Yamps, and Froyo Tech coming back once again onto mid. This has been such a back and forth game. Froyo Tech still looking for their first round.
Yep, and they have Uber advantage here. EVL's going to do what they can to try to delay this as much as possible because you want to get your Uber. There is a Yamps inside forward spawn, but there's no one out there to shoot because Nursey's already popped Uber. They drag a scout into there, into Banny. He's going to take out Rando really quick, and then they're going to cycle over to River, but that's not going so well.
Yeah, Yamps despawning here as Dingo is going to have that Uber advantage, but is a little bit risky pushing out of your last. Even with Uber, they don't have many picks to work with. Blaze spawning up any second here, but Badonsky wants to make something happen. He's getting aggressive in lobby with Rando here. Free State through the lower area, pulling some attention towards him, buying his team time to set back up on the second point. This is very risky out of EVL, but they're pushing forward anyway. They're getting in fairly cleanly, but Blaze getting an opening pick onto Slendish as Rando is popped on and hits a nice clean rocket onto Badonsky. Free State getting killed in behind, but Banny on the point, onto Dingo, hitting some shots. Dingo dancing around. The rest of Froyo Tech here to help Banny, and there goes Dingo. Rando is very hurt behind the point. Patty taking his time, taking his time on that frag, takes down Rando, and just like that, Froyo Tech with that advantage pushing into last.
Yep, and no med to fight against. And we'll see what they decide to do there. Patty actually with a really good kill onto Dingo. If you slightly miss your first rocket and you know that med's going to try to surf, he will bounce himself into you. And then it's a really easy kill. And that's basically exactly what Patty did there. And they're going to lead this in. Looks like they want to go shutter door. And they're going to take a chariot Uber. A vintage chariot Uber is now in there trying to chase people down. But the soldiers are going to do the work and take out Rando and Garbuglio both. And now, actually, it's starting to fall apart. The Badonsky, off the back of the Badonsky and the Yamps team here, they are making it happen. But no, Patty and Banny are going to get the frags here and clean things up. But Rando saves the day, it looks like.
Yeah, it looked very strong for Froyo Tech at first, but they're going to have another try at this as Nursey did survive, but it looks like Garbuglio wants a piece. He's going to use two of his rockets to get close to the medic. He only lands one before he goes down. Nice defensive play from Blaze, keeping his medic alive, keeping that Uber advantage for his team.
Yep, and now we're gonna look at Nursey's giant Uber advantage here, and that'll probably be the plan for them. Slemnish going on to Tinkertown, building it in the little alcove on the right.
Yeah, and he's going to have some time to build here as Nursey... Actually, no, he's not. Nursey's already got her Uber. They're going to get a frag onto Badonsky. They're really not bothering with the sentry gun. They're focusing the point. So much time onto the point from Banny. Dingo does get his Uber, but the cheeky back tap from Blaze. I think he jumped over the point and landed right on it to finish off that round. Furutech getting on the board.
Yeah, that was a very long round, too. We've only got 15 minutes left here, so we're halfway through, and 1-1 on Gully Wash. There's Froyo's pick, so if I'm EVL, I'm happy with this so far.
Yeah, they need this win. They don't want to go down 2 maps in this best of 5. A lot of damage going into Habib early on. Habib very low. He gets arrowed by his medic. Garbuglio gets a kill in the lower area onto the enemy roamer. Garbuglio getting some more damage out, getting another frag onto Patty, just dishing out the damage as the scouts are just cleaning it up. Badonsky getting so aggressive in the lower lobby already, trying to pinch out the enemy medic. Free State runs right at him, 2 shots him down, but it looks like Garbuglio wants a little bit more here. Free State standing his ground, but it looks like he's going to die for his troubles. EVL bouncing back, taking the mid, and taking the second point.
And they are... Well, we'll see. It looks like the hero Uber is going to come out, block the point with just like a sliver left. And I don't think it's accomplishing its goal so far. But no one runs on the point right away to make it finish out. So this is a true fight, and Dingo's going to die immediately at the end of the Uber. And that is not good at all for
Yeah, they're not even
EVL.
be able to edge off the point either. Furutech's... Oh man, Garbuglio in behind. He's going to hit 1 rocket. He needs to hit another. He does, but it's just not enough. They're selling out for Nursey. Badonsky getting 2 frags, one of them being Nursey. He's so hurt on the point, he's just going to edge it off. Badonsky making a huge play for his team. A nice distraction from Garbuglio as well, turning the tide once again in EVL's favor.
Yeah, and barring some kind of a push out here that works, Dingo is going to have massive Uber advantage. So... that is, if you're EVL and you're looking to score, this is basically as good as it's going to get, but you're going to be contested by a Free State sniper and a Banny engineer.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that Banny engineer. He knows how to build that sentry gun. Free State not too shabby on sniper as well. But Dingo does have that Uber advantage. They're going to be taking it in shortly here. They got to take down the sentry gun as soon as humanly possible. Speaking of all classes, Free State on the Pyro, right-clicking those rockets away from the sentry gun as they desperately try to focus it down. Yam's getting right under the point onto Habib. Can he clean up the frag? He can. He's going to get right back onto the point. Can anybody on Furutech defend this? Banny on the point. Rando defending his scout, and that is a round for EVL.
You know, one thing I'm curious about, truktruk, and maybe you know better, I saw that sentry being rescue rangered and it wasn't getting healed as a result. Can bodies block those projectiles? Because I'm pretty sure what was happening there is they were trying to Banny was trying to rescue ranger it, and the bullets were hitting Nursey.
Well, I'm not really sure. You might be right about that. It might be a blocking mechanic of some sort, but we are on the 4th mid of this game. It could be the deciding factor here, as a lot of damage going into EVL, but they're standing their ground. They take down Habib, and Patty going in deep. Dingo surfing straight up in the air. His scouts save his life, and EVL wins their 2nd mid in a row.
If you're EVL, you want to see that mid coming out of Froyo, because Operation Sell Out for the medic is the other team telling you that they don't know what to do.
Yeah, and that's pretty much... They didn't even get the medic either. Dingo survived, dancing around, surfing around, staying alive. Slemnish and Yomps playing right behind him as well, keeping the soldiers suspended in the air, and they're going to probably send a sack player in, as Nursey did survive that transaction. She does have her Uber. Here comes Yomps. Garbuglio's going to go in as well. Habib hitting 2 nice pipes, taking out the EVL players, and Badonsky's trying to keep Blaze away from his medic, and he does successfully. Banny getting another kill onto Slemnish. That should be enough for Furutech to push, and Habib's already sticking me off EVL's forward spawn and gets 2 kills. And Banny getting another kill onto Rando. Habib is so deep right now. He wanted more, didn't get more, but he destroyed the forward spawning players of EVL.
And that was a really nice play. You very rarely see those kinds of things work out, and it totally did that time. Patty with 6 health gonna get cleaned up by Badonsky milliseconds before that arrow would have saved his life.
Man, wow, the force coming out of Nursey getting skyboxed by some rockets and sticky spam. Yam's fighting Banny in the big door area. He's gonna get some help from his team, but does take down Yam. Scarbuglio's super hurt. He's gonna survive somehow as, for whatever reason, Dingo's by himself in choke with the rest of his team at big door. He goes down to Banny, and this is catastrophic for EVL.
Yeah, very disorganized there. Slimnish actually gets a sniper kill as well during it. Super chaotic. Nursey does die, but gonna have about a 5-second Uber advantage. Actually, that's building really, really fast. So I have my doubts. It is crits, indeed. So we've got our first crits of this game, and they are gonna bring it to last. It is very important that Ascent have not fleshy defenses.
Yeah, both demo men have had such raw DM ability throughout the series. I'm not surprised that Nursey's pulling out the crits, trusting her demo man to make the play, giving her team that crits advantage as well. She has a pretty big window to work with as she's built quite quickly, but she's going to have to use it sooner than later, and there's been a lot of spam.
And
oh
Habib
man,
dies in the
Habib
sticky
goes
trap.
down.
Yeah, so they're going to have to go with the old soldier crits if they're going to do it at all.
I think
And
it's been
there's a
spotted
soldier
out, too.
right behind her.
Yep, Rando Mouse takes down Nursey. Nursey dropping that crit streak. No reason to pop it off if you got to trust your team there. And Rando making the play for his team. Badonsky opening it up, getting that pick onto Habib.
Yeah, and I mean, for future reference, let it be said that if you're heading in through a potentially trapped hallway with crits, don't let the demo go first.
Yeah, you got to get your scouts to scout that out, or your soldiers to spam those stickies. Patty in behind, Blaze on top of the medic. Patty oh, never mind. I was going to say unaccounted for, but Slimish and Yams turn around, meat shot him, and fixed him up for that respawn. Slimish going through the lower area, making this mid wide open for his team. Badonsky jumping over the top with Rando. They're going to be capping off this mid for free. Nursey had a huge Uber disadvantage. Can EVL get through the second point without using their Uber?
Well, there are players out here. One is in the goalie wash spot. It's Free State, actually, and Blaze. Both. Everybody's going up there now. But they're guarding the wrong door. But actually a sticky trap hidden against that side wall. And Rando, Badonsky, Slimnish, and Garbuglio all down. It's just Dingo who's like running for his life and has no idea where his team is. And he's just going to have to keep running because he found a friend and he died.
Yeah, wow, Dingo doing the 180 crossbow shot onto Free State, and it looks like EVL is getting spawn killed once again. They're not going to die to it, but they're going to have to be forced to despawn. They're trying to despawn them, but the cap isn't done yet for mid. Tech turning this around thanks to some great plays from Patty, and I believe it was Blaze, or Free State and Blaze.
The
from up top.
whole team is in there.
Yeah, I've never seen this before, ever. Is this some BM?
You know, with
They're
the
actually
time
down
limit,
right
don't
now.
cap, leave them in there. Leave them in there forever.
Rando gets in and forces the Uber. The shenanigans from Tech going against them. Rando says great job before he goes down. And he makes the play for his team, but is it enough? Blaze is in behind. Dingo does not have Uber, not even close. Blaze getting an easy bead onto Badonsky, takes him down, getting a lot of cap time, and this should be around for Tech. Garbuglio, the last player alive, and he does go down for Tech. I'm not really sure if that was a little bit of a cocky play, but it almost went against them, but they salvage it in the end.
It worked great. They should have just left him in there the whole rest of the time. We've got 8 minutes left. That round timer was greater than 8 minutes, so if they get stuck in that spawn door, they're just there for the rest of the game, but that will tie it up here, and it all pretty much hinges on this mid and the cap.
Yeah, Tech's Blaze getting in deep, hitting a lot of damage onto Yamps and Dingo. Garbuglio hurt as well. Badonsky also hurt. Patty finishes off that frag. Tech needs to clean up these frags, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. Banny and Habib getting a pair of frags, and Banny's running right through choke. Ascent, Yams. God damn it. Gosh darn it, Yams. He got me. He got me. That was the first time. EVL Yams running away with Dingo, and Froyo coming back strong, looking to close out the second map.
Yep, then Froyo has done that a few times already tonight, where they look kind of shaky there at first, and then they say, "Oh look, guys, there's 15 minutes left. Time to show up." And actually, we're gonna get the Rando Hero Uber. This is vintage Rando play here, but it's not gonna produce anything other than an Uber exchange. And unfortunately for EVL, they're gonna have to make their way back. But Garbuglio is gonna take out Free State, so that will keep this exchange going just a bit longer.
Garbuglio hitting some nice long-distance rockets onto Nursey, and Slemnish going in deep, doing a lot of damage to Patty. None of these Froyo players are getting cleaned up. So much damage being dealt to them, but no one there to clean up that damage. Individual plays need to be happening for EVL at this point. They don't want to go down 2 maps, and Froyo is poised to close this map out with 6 minutes remaining.
Yep, they are holding here at last. Now, if you wanted to be strategic about this, you could try to make it so that there isn't enough time to push back. Blaze gets blasted in there, but the scout's on 2, and they're gonna get forced, so that's the 2-man sack is successful. Nursey is sitting in upper with Patty and Uber, and we'll see what they have to do here.
Wow. Garbuglio jumps over 2 players and forces Nursey with the counter sack. Great play from him, but if Rando goes down here, this could be bad news bears for EVL. He does. Slemnish going in super deep, trying to make plays. These players are so far in. Yomps in as well. They're just throwing themselves at Froyo. I believe they wanted to get Nursey, but they're unsuccessful. Here comes Patty in on the point already. Badonsky getting juggled every which way. Same with Garbuglio and Dingo. Garbuglio trying to defend it for as long as he can, but unable to. Despite Garbuglio forcing Nursey's Uber, it just wasn't enough.
Yep, they saw a lot more in that play than was possible. But, so they rushed it a little bit there. They have 5 minutes left to try to tie this up. And then I assume we go to a European-style golden cap, which would be cool to see. So, here we go.
Yams getting very aggressive on to Habib, chipping away at his health. Slemnish on the point, very hurt. Patty goes down. Rando kind of wobbling his way up the side as Garbuglio on the other side just shooting some rockets onto Habib. Meanwhile, Free State dancing around and is getting killed by Dingo. I believe that's like the 4th or 5th frag Dingo has gotten this game.
Well, and it was unintentional too. He was meaning to arrow Badonsky, and it just so happened that he got in between them and took the arrow and died.
Well, this is what EVL needs. They didn't get Nursey, but Nursey wasn't healing anybody for a significant period of time, and I'm sure EVL knows that. They're going to have to push off of this advantage that they have. It's very, very small at this point, and they have a Sentry gun to deal with. If they go a little bit too late here, it could play against them. You don't want to be running into a brick wall, and I think they're going to opt to delay here as Nursey has her Uber.
Yep. And we've got the Banny, Tinkertown, and Free State Pyro. Seems to be the way they like to do things over here. So we'll see what the EVL slow strat is, how they're going to try to manage this. They have, the last few times, have gone for 2-man sacks, but that sometimes doesn't pan out. So we'll see what they've got here. Because right now they're just having a little conference.
Yeah, Yam's doing the sword play with Garbuglio coming in over the top. They do get the force. Yam's still alive. Garbuglio somehow able to get out. Badonsky manages to kill Blaze on the counter sack. I don't think Dingo used his Uber there, so EVL having that Uber advantage with that 5v5 situation. They're going to be taking it in on the last. Slemnish and Yams just have a free cap point to work with. Badonsky sitting some pipes there as well. Garbuglio coming in very late with Rando. Rando getting mulched. Garbuglio going down as well. And somehow Froyo is able to defend that.
Dingo botched that one because he kept the Uber on both of those teammates of his, which means they're not capping the point. And so there were 2 players standing on the point, possibly 3 if you count Dingo. And well,
Yomps.
we're going for the back cap with Yomps.
Yomps! Can he get the 2v1? He does, and it's 3-3. Yomps with the classic Yomps back cap, making it happen. 2v1ing Blaze and Free State, and we might have a golden cap on our hands. 2 minutes, 20 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's theoretically possible to win here, so Dingo's giant mistake gets made up for by Yomps' individual DM skill and his backcapping prowess. So basically all you want to do here in this kind of mid is don't lose it really fast.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to be going for the win here. Badonsky very, very hurt. Rando all by himself, connecting a rocket onto Patty before going down. And I think they're overstaying their welcome, EVL is. As I say that, Garbuglio comes out of nowhere, gets a frag. Badonsky walking across the point. Patty getting another frag on to Garbuglio. Dingo and Badonsky, the only remaining players. And Patty wants a piece of Dingo. Or does he? He's just going to pick up Badonsky. Dingo does survive. Habib is in so deep. And Dingo takes down Habib. I said Badonsky as Free State drops Dingo. That is tragic for EVL. There is a minute 26 remaining. They're going to have to go all out defense if they want to force this golden cap.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there. If he'd have just popped, he had a player right there with him. So clearly no medic radar on Dingo there, sadly. So they're gonna Uber in here. They've got a minute. They have to hold this.
He's on the point. He's capping it away. He's got a Slemnish Natasha heavy right on him. Yomps on the Pyro, reflecting a rocket. Both soldiers capping off the point, and Froyotech coming back strong. Struggling a bit in the second half there, but they are going to be winning this second map with 40 seconds remaining.
Yep, so that was huge there. All I said, the strat has to be don't lose mid really quick. And they played passively at the start, and then they kind of got a couple kills there, and then all of a sudden there's just the med and the demo left, and they both die, and now you're screwed. And that's exactly what happened there for EVL. So they just approached that incorrectly. Yeah. And now we've lost here. I would have rather had a normal golden cap round than trying to defend last after a blown out mid. But now we are headed to, let's see what map we will be on, is Sunshine will be where we go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't think EVL is going to give up anytime soon. They need to get all 3 maps in a row if they want to win this tournament. Froyotech only needing 1 more map, and it could be the end here as we approach. What did you say? It was Sunshine.
Yes.
But I will be right back, Marcus. I gotta fill up my water bottle.
All right, so we're doing a little timeout for truktruk. I'll hold it down for you momentarily. We've got some kind of a link here, but it's not recent. But yeah, so we are going to EVL's pick, Sunshine. And we got a couple little stats I could talk about here real quick. Banny is your top fragger of the match. Your top damager, however, it actually appears to be Patty by the FACEIT configuration, with 324 damage a minute. Badonsky got pretty close to that at 300 for his team. I don't think anyone else was really relatively close in that regard. Yeah, a couple people here and there. The deaths on the meds were double for Dingo. That's something I always like to look at there when you have teams that are so even. But the funny thing is, despite Dingo's double deaths, he's got 5 frags, which is a significant amount. You can't really sneeze at 5. That's a lot of medic frags. So that humors me quite a bit. But well, let's see. Anything else I see in here that's very interesting? Not really seeing it right now. Damage taken per minute. That had better be a rando stat. It's actually a yes, that is rando. There we go. Rando still has that for himself. the Pockety Pocket should take the highest amount of damage of all the players in the server.
All right, I'm back, Marxist. If you want to fill up your water bottle, you can go
No,
ahead
man, I'm
and do
good.
that.
I have one of
Okay.
those giant ones. That's it's like a giant barrel. You see?
Got a barrel of water.
Yes.
I need one of those so I don't have to go AFK during the cast. So, yeah, Marxist, we are at the potential final map of this tournament. How are you feeling so far?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's a shame EVL wasn't able to pull either of those out because I would like for our inaugural FACEIT tournament to last as long as possible. And Habib is apparently ordering from McDonald's right now.
I don't understand. Is that possible?
I don't know, but I know in some advanced places I hear of, they're out there in space, you can actually have McDonald's delivered. I've never had delivery of anything, so I wouldn't know.
It's kind of odd. If you're going to choose delivery, it's kind of odd to choose McDonald's, but some people have their little favorites, and Habib getting his gamer energy, I guess, delivered to him. Maybe that will increase or decrease his performance. We will see. He definitely needs to be on his game to finish out this series. Ascent. Oh my gosh, Yams! I'm gonna give him a knuckle sandwich after this game. Yams is on EVL. I don't know what I was gonna say. It's such a subtle troll just putting Ascent in your name. Yeah. Well, anyway, I was going to say EVL is no strangers to being down. Last season of ESCA, they were tagged up as Ronin. They came back from a pretty significant deficit to force a second best of 3, which unfortunately for them, they lost, and it was versus this Tech team. So can they bring it back and make this an all-nighter for everybody? I would like that. I want to see all 5 maps here, Marxist.
Well, it wouldn't be an all-nighter, really, because we only get half an hour, and these are coming out really quick, so we'll be done by 1 a.m., worst case scenario. I know you did the camera work for a lot of those ESCA lands. I did some casting for them. There were times where the Saturday night games would go till like 10, 11, 12, 2, 3 a.m. I think the worst one I ever saw went to like 3:30 in the morning, but we will not have that here today.
Yeah, I do like the tournament rule set, also known as the EU rule set for TF2. It definitely provides for a more structured environment as far as scheduling is concerned. And yeah, we're probably not going to have an all-nighter bearing super duper long pauses if McDonald's delivery crashes into Habib's computer. We will probably be getting this show on the road shortly here on Sunshine. All of the players are in the server, Marxist. Do you think EVL can start pulling back here and get a map on the board? They're down 2-0.
Well, we have seen them play pretty well on Sunshine throughout the season, so I believe I said earlier it was their pick, so maybe they've got some kind of secret strat here that they don't want to save for another occasion, and they're gonna use it right here and now, get themselves those FACEIT points and the money, or at least try to set themselves on the path to do that, because they have to win 3 games in a row from this point on here to win.
Yeah, and so far in this series, Marx, it's been a wild ride so far. Both matches have been quite close. In fact, we probably should be still casting the second map here, but EVL needs to do something to come back here. What do they need to do coming into this first mid of this third map in this best of 5?
They're doing fine. It's just they've had some kind of major mistakes. Oh, look, it's Circa's rollout is what's coming out of Froyo here.
And they're fast to mid because of that. Going through that top left side is about a second faster than any other rollout on this map, and Tech utilizing that advantage. And they're piling up on the right side. Badowski hitting some rainbow pipes, taking out Banny. Patty very hurt, going down with Habib. They're just balled up and collapsing together. They need to take out Dingo, but Dingo is sitting at a decent stack of health, walking through the cafe area, leaving Slemnish to cap off the point.
Yep, and it looks like they're standing here for right now. So maybe they're going to try to hero Uber here. Nursey's going to race out of there. Leaves the scout to die for now, but no death occurs. And every team gets their spawns and they've got their Ubers. So we'll see how EVL chooses to approach Sunshine last, which can be kind of difficult for some teams.
This is the third map in a row. EVL coming out strong. They need to convert this round and keep their lead. They've lost their lead in both maps here so far. Can they convert this push? They're probably going to be sending in a sack. Yomps going in, doing a lot of damage. Garbuglio going in as well, getting destroyed by Free State. The two-man sack unsuccessful to force the Uber out of Nursey. Dingo and friends are sitting at the back of the point as Tech wants to push out with their player advantage. As I say that, nice trap taking out Habib. Badowski is delivering the slammage as he does go down, taking out two Tech players. Dingo staying alive, and they're keeping the point. They're going to regroup and push with their advantage.
Yeah, we'll see if they're taking too long here. They're going to end up facing 3 respawns here without their 2 most damaging classes. But they're on the point right now. Everybody ran away, but they come back out in a big way and knock them off the point. But Patty only has 20 health, and a scout is going to grab it straight away. And EVL for the 3rd match in a row comes out and wins the first round.
Yeah, they got to keep this lead. Great kiting and damage from Badowski, stumping Tech's push, negating their advantages as soon as they walked onto the second point area. And Badowski rolling out once again, getting that nice little surf. Can he get this early damage onto Habib and friends? He's actually sticking off choke a bit. Does a little bit of damage to Habib as the rest of Tech and EVL converge onto this mid. A little bit slower this time around. Yomps eating a rocket across the map. No one's really hurt just yet. Free State up top with Patty. Patty jumping in behind. Slemnish doing a lot of damage, but Patty getting in behind. Blaze doing a lot of damage in the enemy choke, taking out the medic. And Yomps with Garbuglio, the last 2 players alive. Can they make anything happen here? Free State pistoling down Yomps. Both medics going down, but Tech coming back with the second mid.
Yep, but their medic did go down. Dingo is alive, has Slemnish right there spawned with him. So they're going to have a nice Uber advantage here. And his whole team now spawns as well. And I don't think there's anybody here at second. No, they didn't even go have a look at it. So they're going to get to hold second right now. Froyo's going to have to try to kite this Uber or get in and kill Dingo before they get Uber. And I don't think they're going to do that. It would be a very Circa thing to do.
Yeah, and with that building, Dingo has built himself a pretty decent advantage, 30%. I don't think they're going to act off of it, but they should be able to at least use Uber defensively here if they need to. The ball is in Tech's court. They got mid. Nursey doesn't have Uber just yet, but they're giving Tech the benefit of the doubt, assuming that they both had the same advantage.
Yeah, strange. I guess Nursey maybe just didn't build so well at first. But that should be a thing that's just known. When you're the med, you die, you look at the thing. If their med's still alive and then dies later, you're going to push the second you get Uber. Yeah, ideally, you'll be pushing before you get Uber. But I guess they're just going to let this bottom out. They are in the lead, so maybe they had a little team talk and they said, you know, we need to play a little more carefully here. And so they'll try the slowing down Froyo game. They're bringing in the Blaze Bomb.
Yeah, and Blaze is getting denied by everyone on EVL. The counter-sack really isn't in any sort of position to do anything. I don't know if they're just going to send Rando in, but it looks like they just want to go through Cafe. He's spotted out and destroyed by Patty, hitting all 4 rockets onto Rando. Danny pushing forward through Cafe. Badowski hitting an easy pipe onto the Bandman. Habib very hurt in choke, getting pushed out, so frags being traded every which way. EVL still wants to push forward.
Yeah, Rando actually kind of killed himself there. He got bounced around and shot the wall really close to himself, and then that damage took him out. But in the meantime, 2 players have gone down for Froyo. That would be Patty and Free State. Banny is just a respawner here, and they're going to get through, and they're going to try to keep going, actually. A really aggressive play. Yomps is going to go down, unfortunately. Dingo is 8 health, and he's bombed by the demo, and he's still alive.
Oh my god, Dingo's still in a lot of trouble. Somehow Blaze is unable to shoot a rocket, and they're selling out so much for Dingo. They finally get him, but at what cost? They lost everyone. Patty jumping around on his second point. I cannot believe Dingo lives so long. Habib hit a great sticky into the 3 players in Chokin that, unfortunately for them, the damage actually baited them all to die.
They lost their med too, because the Nursey's whole team sold out to kill Dingo, and she was just stuck there by herself, and that was that. And now we're gonna see what happens now. Rando and Blaze carry out the Roamer special on each other, and Patty and Banny go down 2 to Garbuglio.
Yeah, Barguglio headshots. Patty with his rocket taking down Banny as well. It looks like EVL wants to get through choke, or at least just peeking it. Dingo tanking away Budonsky, who is dishing out a lot of damage. Both demo are doing so much for their teams this game. Just a matter of their scouts cleaning it up or not.
Yep, and we should note, EVL still in the lead, holding mid here. And they are playing noticeably slower. However, we still have 20 minutes left in this. So it hasn't had any great effect on the time left. We're not down to like the last 5 minutes. But they are definitely a lot more methodical this time around than maybe they were in the last 2 games.
I do like how EVL is playing. They're using the rule set and time limit to their advantage. They are forcing... It seems like they're forcing Furutech to make the move off of their own second into mid and then going to be reactive. They don't really have any incentive to push here. There's 9 minutes left on this cap time here, so they have all the time in the world to work with, and it seems like they're utilizing it.
Yep. Now you can't just hold it forever, because if you burn off the 10-minute timer, then you have to have another mid fight, and that could go badly. So you just sit here and whittle some time, and then do your suicide thing. And I think that is the strat right now. They're trying to scare Froyo or bore Froyo into doing something silly. And Yomps is actually going to go in for the suicide after everything gets sleepy. And it's going to die, not going to have anything come out there.
Garbuglio hitting some easy rockets onto Banny and Blaze. Great positioning out of him. Rando jumping across into flank, launching Free State onto the ledge there. Patty jumping up onto Rando. Rando very hurt, cratering to his death. Garbuglio in deep, forcing the Uber. Garbuglio's making plays left and right, getting air shot out of the sky by Patty. The Ubers are exchanged. Free State just kind of hiding in this lower lobby area, spotted out by Slemnish. Patty coming in to save the day, taking down Slemnish. Budonsky trading off the frag. So much frags being exchanged here as Banny works his way into Dingo, taking him out. Blaze jumping into Budonsky, shooting the ground, taking him down. Furutech getting the much better of that exchange despite the early plays made by Garbuglio.
Yeah, that's really a shame. Garbuglio pretty much did that all by himself. Rando went into the other side there. Everybody got super distracted, and Garbuglio just walked up behind Nursey. And that was that. But unfortunately, his team got kind of distracted as to what their purpose was. They wanted to go in there and get Nursey or get more frags when they should have just capped the point and been happy.
Yeah, and Nursey's going to have a pretty big advantage to work with. The slow strategy from EVL not really working for them. Furutech still not on the board in this game, but they're no strangers to coming back in these maps so far. Being down early on in every one and winning both maps. Blaze getting in, Patty jumping behind him. He hits a nice rocket on a Dingo. Patty jumping very late, but he's making so much space for his team. Look at where Furutech is positioned. I don't know if EVL can come back out of this.
Well, they've got this Uber, and it's actually going to be a Uber popped into them. Garbuglio is going to die to Habib Sticky. They've got to get on this point and stop it or run away. And unfortunately, they choose to really do neither. And Rando's gonna die in the sticky trap there, and they're gonna have to fall back 2 down. This map is somewhat viable for the fast push in with no Uber. They're going in, they brought Nursey as well.
Nursey taking down Badonsky. Blaze right on the point. Habib just standing right above it, spamming away with Free State, dancing around with Banny. Furotech surely got this, tying it up. A very clean, delayed push from Furotech, taking their time with it and bringing it back to tie it up 1-1.
Yeah, EVL slowed it down, and then they got a great 2K out of Garbuglio because Blaze and one of the scouts, I think Free State, just kind of wandered into them. And that was like, okay, that's exactly what we wanted to have happen. And then they responded by going hyper aggressive and completely throwing it away.
And we are at the 3rd minute of this map here. It's been a very methodical game so far. These mids have been developing very slowly. Garbuglio getting a lot of damage onto Banny, but getting pushed back with the rest of his team. The rest of his team's just stuck in choke. Rando all by himself. Garbuglio getting up top here, doing a lot of damage once again, but no one to clean it up. Everybody on EVL backing off to their last, and Furotech looking to close this tournament out.
Well, on the bright side, Dingo still got Uber, so they'll be alright here. They're not going to contest because there's too much Froyo alive outside there. But the bomb is coming in already from Patty. Going to get taken out by Slemnish, though. Nearly kills Badonsky, but not quite enough. We'll see if they try to do a counter sack over here.
Yeah, Yamps was getting aggressive in the lower area. Blaze and Free State watching it intently. I don't know if they have enough time to send anybody in. If they do right now, it might be too late. But they are still standing their ground. Slemnish does die. The respawner of Froyotech is back. Oh, actually, they trade off Blaze. Never mind. So they're not going to be able to push unless they want to go 5v5 even Uber.
Yeah, Banny actually tried to get in behind and came face to face with a player from EVL and just ran away. Did not try to take the 1v1.
Habib taking a lot of damage. He's so hurt. He does go down to Yamps. So big play from Yamps and Garbuglio. Great spam and great cleanup. Rando going in. He wants to solo this onto Patty. Nursey just milking away, just not letting her pocket die. A much longer Uber here from Nursey. Can they make anything happen with it? Rando in behind. Yamps getting a kill onto Blaze. Rando still alive. Patty peeking into last. He's in a precarious position. As I say that, Rando and Yamps are all fluttered up in the lower area. They're going to convert the frags despite being very low health. Habib trying to get out, desperately defending himself, getting to the pack. But as the dust settles, EVL comes out on top and gets out of their last point. Yamps wants a piece of Habib. Blaze coming in to save the day, but Yamps destroying Blaze in the cafe area. Yamps is just a machine at this point.
Yeah, that was a weird frag because Blaze just shot his own feet thinking the scout would still be down there, but somehow Yamps like surfed the explosion upwards.
Free State taking down Slemnish. He's getting 2v1 as the rest of his team is left out to dry at mid. Unfortunate jump from Blaze, getting caught on the clipping of the roof, not able to bomb onto the EVL squad, but Froyotech bouncing back. They have Uber. Dingo doesn't have his just yet, and even if he did, he just doesn't have the players to defend this second point. They are playing so aggressive in this lobby. Patty forces out the Uber. Nursey pops herself. Yamps forcing that off. Yamps very hurt in this lower area. He does get a frag before he goes down, evening it up for his team. A lot of damage being dealt to Habib in this lower area. He is killed. Blaze in, takes down Dingo, but is it enough for Froyotech?
Yeah, well, no medic here. All damage is what I like to call permanent. So all you have to do is spam at them and cow them around.
Rando actually wobbling his way through this flank area, getting spotted out by Banny and cleaned up by Banny. Everybody on Furotech peeking through the flank area with Free State walking through choke, clearing out that area for his team. Nursey's going to be at a huge advantage here as she did survive in the previous exchange.
Yep, and they've got that advantage here. They're going to try to cross through the hard door, and everybody gets damaged. So now they're going to go through the much easier door, the under sneaky door, and they're going to use the speed boost to Banny to get straight in there. Soldier gets juggled quite a lot, but they're already on this point. just a little bit here, but nobody's actually staying on it to pressure it. And then they all try to spill out lower again and get blown up for it. But Dingo dies, so they've got to just make it work with what they've got here on EBL.
They got the heals. Froyotech does a lot of damage coming in from Donsky and Garbuglio, but isn't enough. Slemnish takes down Banny. Nursey is the only remaining player on Froyotech, and EVL surviving that onslaught from Froyotech. They need to get out of their second point, though, or their last point.
Yeah, and they're going in right now as the leading edge is Yomps, but he's not got a whole lot of health, but he's gonna, Slemnish is actually gonna get 3 kills. Nursey is gonna be one of them as well.
Yomps with the rap dance move, staying alive forever. His buddy Slemnish coming in, cleaning up the frags, and wow, what a turn of events once again for EVL. Nursey going down, Dingo having that big Uber advantage, and mid for free. Habib setting up a sticky trap as EVL looks to take their second round of this third map.
Yeah, that was absolutely huge out of Slemnish there, and now we're going to have this Uber advantage push here. They're going to go out of the, I like to call this scary push here, because that Soldier and Patty can just come over there and there's nothing you can really do about it as the med. And Garbuglio and Slemnish are both going to die, so they're going to have to fall back now and see what happens here. Rando's going to go down as well. And now you got 3 players to try to defend mid with. This is not looking good, but Blaze is going to go down at least.
Yeah, Dingo actually pops his Uber off. I don't think they're going to get much done with it. The stickies are just sitting underneath their feet. Habib didn't see it and didn't dead. He could have got both of the players in choke, including Dingo. But regardless, Dingo popped his Uber off. Nursey's going to have that advantage. And despite everything, EVL is probably going to have to concede mid. It might be a leapfrog situation.
Yeah, that exchange that happened there, Truk, is not the kind of thing you can do against a team like Froyo. It's just not going to turn out. But meanwhile, Yomps is going to manage to get the force and a couple frags. And that is going to help them a great deal, but not as far as holding mid.
Yeah, Rando does take down Blaze in the flank, getting another 1-for-1 trade and giving Dingo that time to build up his Uber. The leapfrog is in motion, but as I say that, Free State making the play for his team. Dingo with no one to heal. Free State shooting at Slemnish. He connects with his medic, but EVL on the back foot. Despite having Uber advantage, they need to wait for their respawners to arrive, and they do. They're going to be pushing once again, this time with their Uber.
This cafe push is called, but it doesn't really matter. Blaze is gonna die straight away. There's apparently not enough Froyo here that really wants to fight this, so they're gonna let it go. There is a fight going on behind between Free State and Garbuglio, but Garbuglio, in a rare victory for the Roamer class, is going to kill the Scout in a 1v1.
For the roamers around the world, Garbuglio is your man. The Uber is popped out of both teams. Dingo popping much earlier than Nursey. Nursey's going to have a little bit more time to work with. As I say that, she flashes all her players every which way. She's trying to get rid of that Uber to retain the even Ubers. Rando goes in so deep. Nursey is super hurt. Slemnish trying to pistol the medic down. They're selling out for Nursey, and Nursey surviving in the deep red.
Yep, 14 health was the lowest Nursey got. And meanwhile, Dingo has to hippie hop back to the forward spawn and hope no one chases him really hard. Luckily, no one does. And now he's got a team again, but they are at huge Uber disadvantage. They're going to try to do the circuit thing and just push straight out here, it looks like. And they've got a player in behind in Slemnish who kind of came around the flank. So this fight is going down now. Blaze is going to crater. Slemnish is super hurt. I don't know where he's gone. He hides, takes an arrow. Patty's going to die as well, but now Rando and Badonsky are down. That's the core of your team on the EBL. And they're going to start falling apart. The Uber gets popped out from Nursey, though. So maybe it was all worth it if they don't come flooding through choke here.
Yeah, Nursey popped her Uber, but unfortunately she only had a Scout to heal. The Scout did get one frag, but it wasn't on to Dingo. They might have to concede the second point, but as EBL's spawns arrive, they should be able to push right back into it. They need to take out Nursey or 2 players. That's their options here. Blaze getting in deep. There's one, And it looks like Free State wants to get in behind as well. Slemnish and Yomps on the point. Free State in behind, taking down Garbuglio on the last point. Can he get spammed down in time? Rando using his rocket to spam instead of jump on the point. Unfortunate decision by Rando. And they are down 2-1 now. EVL needs to come back.
Yep, and they have 9 minutes to do it as a reminder on the timer. So still within reason, but this is following the trend that we've had these last several games where EVL comes out super strong, wins the first round, and then Froyo ties it up and eventually takes the lead, never to relinquish it.
Patty going in deep, missing the roof there and opting to jump back into his own choke. Vanny getting very aggressive, eating some rockets down to 2. He goes down. Habib takes down Bodonsky as the rest of EVL is pushing this left side, overwhelming the Froyo Tech players in that area. And EVL is going to come back, win this mid. They need to win this round.
Yep, EVL's coming out very strong here, and a pause. Truk.
Now I'm going to use this pause to take a nice swig of refreshing water. The stream is not sponsored by water, but you need it to live.
Most of your body is it. But, so here we go. I assume what we're going to see here is a quick roll to second, because Slemnish is already right there. I don't see too much else doing. Nursey and Patty are in kind of an interesting spot right now. Maybe they'll try to sneak out from underneath, but then you're in an Uber v Uber fight, maybe. Depending on how many people show up on second that you're not going to be able to see, so that'd be incredibly risky.
Well, we'll see what happens in a moment here, Marxist, but we can bring the things out for the viewers that are just tuning in. This is the FACEIT $2,500 grand final between EVL and Froyo Tech. Froyo Tech is up 2-0, 2 maps to nothing on this best of 5. EVL desperately needs to come back here. There is I think my timer is still ticking away, so there's like 8 or 9 minutes left in this game, so EVL does have time to tie this up. If they do, it will be a golden cap, and they need to win the next 3, this map and the next 2, to secure the win. But Froyo Tech up 2-1.
Yeah, they are definitely in a corner here. It's do or die for EVL, and so far, it looks like this round is going in their favor. At least as of yet, but they've had some important missteps in this match, as has happened several points. Well, actually, we are back live again, though, and strangely enough, Rando's sprite, like, freaked out when it unpaused. He must have queued a whole lot of actions during the downtime.
Yeah, he's ready to go, and Yomps is also ready to get in. They're going to pop on Yomps. He's going to 2-shot Habib down. They have a sentry gun to deal with as all the players are ice skating around. Yomps goes down. Nursey almost has her Uber. I think she does. My HUD is messed up. I think I heard Dingo go down. Nursey's floating around. She did pop her Uber. Rando, the remaining player alive for EVL. Donsky backing out of choke, and an unfortunate push for EVL. I think they thought they had a bigger advantage than they did.
Well, even if you do, I have no idea why they just solo Ubered in a scout. Like, that, there's no world where you do that and it works. So that play doesn't make any sense to me. Now the Uber comes out, Yomps is going to go down, and they're going to keep pressing this as Free State out of the alleyway, and he's on the point. Patty is going to go down, though, so that's kind of turning it against Froyo there. And Nursey's going to go down to Rando, but he's going to get Blaze and Banny.
Rando Mouse in the chat, getting a nice couple kills there, salvaging that for his team, giving his team a huge advantage. Free State, being a little sneaky snake that he is, hiding. There's people suspicious. Garbuglio and Slemnish sniffing it out. Slemnish taking a 1v1 with Free State in behind. Free State just dancing around, making some time for his team as Rando spawns up. He's surely going to spot out Free State. As I say that, he just jumps on back towards his team. I think they're just going to leave Free State in behind and just take their advantage into last.
Yeah, that would be the decision I would make here as well. Just leave that guy back there. The only time it gets risky is if he starts a back cap. The way you want to do this as Free State is get on it as soon as you hear the Uber's been popped, which is exactly what has happened. And the sentry gun goes down, And Yomps is going to die to Patty, Badonsky, and Dingo all as well. So it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, Free State doesn't get a kill in that exchange, but he brought 3 EVL players, leaving Dingo just all by himself, giving his team that advantage. Slemnish going in behind. He doesn't have enough time for the back cap, but he is in a position to make a play. Garbuglio is also in a decent spot. Slemnish gets sniffed out, and if Garbuglio has the game sense of a god, he can make it happen. Here it is. 1 rocket. Not enough to take down Nursey. Nursey with that Uber advantage, pushing into mid.
Up, and Free State's gonna die to the sneaky Badonsky trap. Oh, an air shot roamer. He's running around with the stick. That was actually Rando, not Garbuglio, because Garbuglio was already dead. And they are going to have to pull out of that completely. They end up sacking essentially 3 players to try to force Nursey's Uber, and that's going to lead to a rough go of it here on 2.
Yeah, and time is ticking away. 5 minutes left. Roughly 5 minutes left for EVL. The direct hit is out for Rando. He's missing the shots, unfortunately for him. Rando on his favorite weapon, and it's not going to work out. Banny actually is slain by the Rando DH, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted that med pick. Nursey not having to pop into mid or second, pushing all the way to EVL's last point.
Yep, very rough go of it there. Banny is already on the sniper because they know Dingo has to have Uber by now, so they want to try and take it away. We'll see the rare appearance of the Banny sniper.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work out because EVL is probably going to be pushing in this situation. Time is against them. Nursey oh my gosh, Banny making the play. He gets the angle, the shutter opens, and he takes down Dingo, and that should be the game for Froyotech, but there is a pause. I don't know how much the STV is delayed, but I'm not sure what's going on. This is pretty nuts. Habib unpauses the game, puts a classic Lenny face in chat, but it's just Slemnish and Badonsky left to cap or defend this last point.
Yep, and they are going to grab it here. Yomps writes, "We are very upset." And
yeah, that was unfortunate.
3-1. Dingo tried to outsnipe me. Big mistake. Yeah, apparently Dingo, according to Banny, I think I saw it too, Dingo pulled out the
crossbow?
The crossbow when he saw the sniper.
Man, they're already leaving the server, so Froyotech is going to be your FACEIT $2,500 tournament winner. And this was a great tournament. Despite the 3-0 for Froyotech, these matches have been great. And big shout out to all the teams that participated and signed up. With 1 week's notice, we had over 30 teams sign up for this tournament. And Froyotech is your champion.
Yep, so they are going to walk away with the FACEIT points, the prestige, a nice little ego boost headed into the ESEA playoffs as well. But, no real shame for EVL. They performed quite well on an array of maps and showed that they're just on the cusp of beating them. And also, Yomps with the excuses says, our players are having internet issues. And there you go. So,
well, regardless, big shout out to FACEIT for having this tournament, believing in the TF2 community, making the TF2 pug system on their platform. So if you're interested in playing some competitive TF2, check out FACEIT. I believe it's in an open beta, if not released, pug stage, and it's quite nice. If you've tried out TF2 Center, you should try out FACEIT. I think it's a strictly better system that we should all at least give a try. So big shout out to FACEIT once again, holding this tournament, making TF2 on their platform. As I just said, I'm super excited for the future of FACEIT and TF2.
Yep, it's pretty cool. I've heard lots of really good things about it. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten my chance to try it out yet, but I hear it is really cool, and I will be trying it out fairly soon. But yeah, so congratulations to Froyo and EVL. Here are the official rundowns of how the prizes got broke down. So all of the teams get well, not all of the teams, but all of our finalists get a little bit of a payday there. So it looks pretty good. And well, Truk, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Last shout out is big shout out to Sam on production. Yesterday he came in from a family gathering to do like 4 or 5 hours of production, and then he's back here today doing all the production for this tournament. So big shout out to Sam on the cam. Yeah, that's pretty much the shout out I got, and all the casters, you included, Marxist. Thanks for being here, and yeah, I gotta shout out FACEIT again. It's really cool to see, despite TF2 being 10 years old, we're still having tournaments. Players are still playing this game, and it's such a great testament to how awesome this game is and how good FACEIT and all the other community sites support TF2.
Yep. So in case you're still just hanging around there, I would encourage you, if you want to see more TF2, teamfortress.tv, and a shout outs to the viewers who hung around this whole time. I know there's somebody out there right now who's a hardcore viewer who watched every single match of this tournament. Special shout outs to them.
Pudas.